SPJUTT and Sergeant Warrenberger, right? Did I say it right? Yeah, okay. Anyway, they're from our Major Crimes Division. They did a phenomenal investigations, and they did a phenomenal job in this case, and I wanted to bring everybody up to speed on where we're at. First and foremost, let me just say, I said it before and I'll say it again, this wasn't the highest priority of the Houston Police Department. Having said that, you know, we're Texans, and this is Texas, and the only blemish that we had on the Super Bowl happened to be the theft of these jerseys that were stolen from the NFL's locker room, you know, that was under the control of the NFL security, obviously not under the control of the Houston Police Department, but it was nonetheless a blemish on our Super Bowl, and unfortunately for the people that did this, you don't come to Texas and embarrass us here in our home turf, right, guys? Sure. So we decided that we're going to try to put this together. So again, good morning. As you all know, we've been getting a lot of media calls in the office this morning with information about this case after a national reporter tweeted about the recovery of Tom Brady's jersey from our Super Bowl here a few weeks ago. I want to make sure that everybody understands that the jersey is in the hands of the NFL and the FBI. It is in Boston. But the reason the jersey has been recovered is because of the men and women of the Houston Police Department and their outstanding work. The Houston Police Department's Major Offenders Division has been the lead agency on this investigation from the beginning after it was learned that this jersey was stolen after the Super Bowl. It was reported missing from the Patriots locker room immediately following the Super Bowl. Since that time, our investigators have worked diligently trying to develop leads as to where this jersey may have gone. Again, it was not our highest priority, but nonetheless, the only blemish on the police department in our estimation on this Super Bowl was the theft of this jersey. And so they worked to find the jersey. And along the way, obviously, they worked closely with the NFL, the Patriots, and the FBI, and the Texas Rangers. Our investigators actually developed information from an informant here in Houston, that led them to Mexico, and that led them to believe that the jersey was actually in Mexico. And quite frankly, as a result of that investigation, we were able to work with the FBI and Mexican authorities to respond to the suspect's last known location or known location and look for the jersey. The jerseys were subsequently recovered. The jersey was subsequently recovered along with the jersey from Mr. Brady from Super Bowl, I believe, 49. That had been previously gone missing from that Super Bowl, were recovered in Mexico and taken by the FBI and NFL security, again, to Boston, where efforts are being made right now to authenticate the jerseys. We're highly confident that these are, in fact, the jerseys, based on our investigative efforts and based on all the information that these fine men and women of our police department uncovered. However, those tests are ongoing in terms of the authentication of the actual jerseys, and as soon as those results are in, we will get it out to you, and I'm sure that the FBI, our partners, and the NFL will work with us in getting it out to all of you. As I said earlier and I said before, this was not the highest priority, but it was still important for us to solve this case because of the national and international attention that it brought, and it seems there was a lot of interest in it. But we want to keep things in perspective in our department. We had a young woman shot and killed this weekend in Houston in a car. You know, we've got a lot of crime, not just here in Houston, but around our country. We have violent crime going up nationwide. My old city of Austin, where I came from, has an extremely high spike in violent crime, and that's happening around the country. And so let's keep this in perspective. After we speak today, we probably won't speak about this anymore, other than once the prosecution continues with our partners at the U.S. Attorney's Office. It's done a fantastic job of working very closely with us here in Houston. We fully anticipate charges being brought against the suspect in this case. But again, I just want to keep things in perspective. It was a jersey, and now two jerseys. And the only thing I will just add to that is I just hope that the NFL security takes a look at, because they are the ones responsible for security in the locker rooms, they really need to check their protocols in their efforts, because this is at least 2 jerseys that we're aware of, and obviously it required a response from the Houston Police Department and other partners to recover them. And quite frankly, they're going to end up where they belong, which is in the hands of Mr. Brady and his family and his colleagues. And so with that, I want to thank again our partners with the U.S. Attorney's Office, the FBI, the NFL, and the Patriots, who have been good partners in this. But I especially want to thank our men and women here at the Houston Police Department's Major Offenders Division, but for their investigative efforts and prowess, and I would say excellence, those jerseys would still be in Mexico. Now, again, this investigation is ongoing. Obviously, our partner at the U.S. Attorney's Office is preparing to prosecute vigorously the person responsible for this, so we are going to be limited in exactly what we talk about. So with that, I'll open up to questions.
What kind of charges could this person face?
Well, it's one of the things they can face is actually transporting stolen goods across state lines and obviously out of the country. And that will be handled by the U.S. Attorney's Office.
What can you tell us about the suspect?
I can tell you, I can just tell you that he doesn't reside in the city of Houston. But I will say that the investigation, again, is ongoing, and I don't want to get too specific on it because I don't want to do anything to actually taint it. But the jerseys were recovered in Mexico, and I want to thank the Mexican authorities, who have been very cooperative and obviously are great partners. A long-time relationship with our Mexican counterparts, and once again, once the FBI reached out on behalf of the Houston Police Department, letting them know that we had developed information as to the whereabouts of the jerseys and a suspect. They were very helpful, and without their assistance, we wouldn't be standing here today.
Where in Mexico?
I'm not going to talk about the specifics, just Mexico and in the country of Mexico.
Is he in custody?
I'm not going to talk about that.
Were other pieces of memorabilia found as well? We've heard that possibly some stuff belonging to one of the members of the Denver Broncos from last year's season.
I'm not aware of that.
Was this guy just a Patriots fan, or was he trying to resell these?
That's part of the investigation, so we're not going to speculate. But you all know that one of the things about this memorabilia is that although the face value in terms of buying a jersey isn't that expensive, because of the nature of how it was worn, who it was worn by, and the circumstances it was worn, to a collector, it's kind of like a piece of art, and so it can be it can have a great value in terms of monetary gain for the suspect. But again, the suspect decided to steal it in the city of Houston, and thanks to our Major Offenders Division, you know, it's like the Texas bravado. He came to the wrong state, you know what I'm saying? So you don't come to Texas and you don't steal when the eyes of the world are upon our state. And again, I'm very proud of our team that went out and found the suspect, and as a result, it's been recovered.
Chief, you made a call for video. Did that play a role at all?
Videos are part of the investigation, and it will be part of the evidence at some point. But again, it's a collective effort that started with the Houston Police Department Major Offenders Division, and ended with our partners at the FBI. That again, they've got the league at, and they've got resources overseas, and that's the way it's supposed to work. We reached out to them, and I really want to reach and just call out Special Agent in Charge Perry Turner here locally. He and his team are just great partners. We have a great working relationship, and I think that the relationship between the field here in Houston and across the country and their local SACs are very strong, and their headquarters probably could learn a lot from the way we get along here in the field. So it's just a great partnership.
One more question. We can't get into too many more specifics.
Did the suspect follow a coach in? There was a report that he might have followed a coach in the locker room.
No, I can just tell you that the suspect had access to the event, and I'm not going to say any more specifics other than he had legitimate access to the event, and it wasn't as a ticket holder. Okay?
You mentioned that this wasn't the top priority. Can you talk about resources that went into this?
It was a handful of investigators in the Major Offenders Division, and again, you know, like I said before, I remember telling them, hey, don't burn the midnight oil. You know, if it's that important, you'd have better security procedures inside the locker room. But by the same token, it's Texas, and you know, we do have a little bit of organizational pride. Actually, we have a lot of organizational pride. We have pride in our city. Our mayor and our council put a lot of effort. This city, this community, put a lot of effort into welcoming the entire world to the city of Houston. I think that we really showcased what a Super Bowl is supposed to be like. We showcased our city, and the really only blemish was, this theft from the locker room, and so our folks took it upon themselves. And this guy actually said, Matt Slinker, that if it can be found, it will be found by the Houston Police Department. And now I'm trying to get him to tell me the lotto numbers for next week, but he won't tell me because it's like he looked in that magic 8-ball, and we're happy that we recovered it, but we're ready to put this behind us. We're ready to turn it over to the U.S. Attorney's Office so they can prosecute it to the full extent of the law. And if not, we've got obviously the DA's office and Kim Ogg, who's more than capable to pick up the ball if she needs to. But I think I'm confident in the U.S. Attorney and their abilities to charge federal charges on this case.
Any timeline on when you first got the information and then when you actually recovered it?
Who are you with?
You don't watch our channel?
No, I'm too busy working.
We began a meeting.
Yeah, the second that we found that it was brought to our attention, we opened an investigation, and along with the Rangers, that were obviously the Lieutenant Governor offered up their assistance, but it really was primarily an HPD investigation with our Major Offenders Division, and they started working fast and furious with a handful of investigators. There's a lot of video that was reviewed. There's a lot of work that went into it, but at the end of the day, it's a jersey, but we do have pride in our city, we have pride in our department, and we have pride in our country, and I'm glad we were able to solve it. So again, thanks for being here, and there'll be more to follow.
Before we let you go, any questions in Spanish?
Yeah, we'll do Spanish after everybody else gets out of here.
Okay.
How's that? Yeah, gracias, everybody.
Thank you.
That means thank you, everybody, in case you needed to know. Gracias, gracias.